Well, my apologies for not being with you today. I'm currently in the field, not far from Lille. My name is Loïc Stalin. I'm a senior advisor at Reforest'Action, a forestry and regenerative agriculture project development company. I hope you had a good lunch and are ready to hear about trees and agriculture. So, let's get back to the initial situation. As you may know, we have been living high on the hogs for decades. And now our agricultural systems are facing a decrease in yields, an increase in input costs, extreme floods and droughts. In brief, everything you farmers and industries do not want. Then, regenerative agriculture came into our lives. Well, only the word for in the end practices has existed in many forms for quite a long time. We are just rediscovering it and tweaking it. For Reforest'Action, project implementer and impact monitoring company, we distinguish three categories of practices. Sustainable pasture land management, meaning managing stock rates, type and time you let the flock on and off the plot. Crop and soil management, meaning the building of crop rotation maximizing yields while taking advantage of the plants naturally producing or sequestering nutrients the next crop will need. A classic example would be legumes and cereal succession. Also, cover crops to avoid bare soils, while improving soil structure through the root system and organic matter when destroying it. Last but not least, my favorite one, the agroforestry. Now, before you hightail it, I would like to specify that agroforestry can be trees in the middle of your plot every 5 meters, or it can also be only peripheral hedges. Hope you're still here. What makes me so thrilled about agroforestry? It plays a big role in water and soil. It can reduce the runoff by up to 25%. Interesting when you know that losing 5 centimeters of topsoil can lead to 15% yield loss. Trees improve infiltration, up to 400 millimeters per hour, and help to refill the groundwater. And if you think that it will compete with your crops, please know that if your trees are well chosen, once mature, they will use deeper resources than your crops. And obviously, except for intraplot trees, we keep a distance between trees and crops. Now, it is common sense to think drought comes from the sun. Well, that's partly true. The biggest factor of drought is the wind. Hedgerows can slow down the wind by up to 20 to 50% over a distance of 4 to 12 times its height. This applies to drying winds and cold winds. Referring to biodiversity, numerous trees are melliferous species, and you can get flowers and fruits the whole year, if well designed. This will help bring back crop auxiliaries, like pollinators, but also, and more importantly, birds or hedgehogs. The aim is to bring back your pest predators. It will lead to an increase of soil fauna and mycorrhizal associations. Agroforestry has been used for centuries before modern agriculture has thrown everything out the window, when we could have adapted designs to our machines. No need to make squares with hedges every acres. Older systems are silvopasture. Why? Trees can produce high-quality forage for your cattle. It will also protect cattle against wind, sun, flood, and act as buffer against the harmful bacteria movement in the water. As well as increasing forage production, it will increase cattle production by increasing offspring survival, productive capacity, and milk production. Now that I spent half of this speech on farms' interest, why should companies have these solutions within the supply chains? First, it will help companies reduce their environmental footprint. Indeed, regenerative agriculture will improve your carbon footprint with emission reduction and removal increase. You will also have a better impact on water by increasing infiltration, evapotranspiration, and reducing runoff. This will help to keep water in the watershed you have an impact on. Finally, it will also improve biodiversity by hosting more species than conventional agriculture, creating new corridors and reducing usage of harmful practices. You will also secure your supply chain by improving its resilience. Of course, companies need to report these impacts in various frameworks. This is something we help with for SBTi flag, water positive approach, SBTN, CSRD, and so on. You will foresee regulations such as EUDR, which will arrive next year, hopefully. And finally, you will ensure sustainable production and maybe get a premium for it. Now, let's have a look at the customer case, the Kashmir project. In this case, we have the following model. Corporate funds the project, benefit from its impacts, and secure sustainable supply chain. On one hand, on our hand, as my company is based in France, and even if we have 2 project offices in India, where the project is located, we are co-developers because we need a local expert to ensure the ground activities. We carried out the project coordination, we spotted the design, meaning which trees to plant and why. We train on our monitoring methodologies, such as how to create polygons, ensuring that we would be able to know if the project will have survived in 30 years. We manage the financial flow. For example, make sure we have quotes for several local supply companies and challenge it. Train the co-developer on the various project activities because we want our projects to be self-sustaining at a certain stage, while we will focus on the impact monitoring, the audit of the project, and the corporate reporting. The co-developer, on his own, will provide farmer access. Co-design regenerative agriculture with us, thanks to his knowledge of the region and the local practices. He's also the one who will oversee the collecting of the data on the ground, with the methodologies we would have trained him on. Finally, the breeders are the one preparing land, planting and sowing, fertilizing, protecting, watering if necessary, and managing the flock. In every regenerative agriculture project, we seek to create a sustainable economic and environmental way of producing. Indeed, our aim is that environments thrive, but the breeder as well. Then, we needed to regenerate the agroecosystem while producing, ensuring forage availability for the flock and food availability for the people. And you know what? We implemented agroforestry, pasture land management, and crop management. Are we stubborn? Well, maybe. In this case, agroforestry has an interest at the landscape level to restore water availability and produce wood for local populations. On water, we also created trenches to improve water retention on the degraded slopes. One of the main activities was to improve forage availability by sowing and protecting alfalfa plots. Several alfalfa species have good chances to thrive in this region and provide nitrogen to the soil and also to the flock. Indeed, the project is located in Himalaya at a very high altitude. This zone suffers from climate change and especially from rainfall changes. Also, naturally present fodder resource is decreasing, and this scarcity is one of the main challenges in the region. So, managing the flock rotation in the valley was one of the topics, but creating new fodder resources was another one. Last topic was the food availability for population. Community living in this region was not necessarily cultivating crops and was relying on plant gathering. Once again, because of local climate change effects, their food resource is decreasing, and they now need to grow crops. In the project, we tried food production of 20 species to increase food security. Now, this project is a very good example of how regenerative agriculture can help companies ensure supply chain resilience. Indeed, some can think, if a region cannot produce anymore, then I will change my sourcing region. I have been a commodity buyer, and you cannot rely on this in the long term. You need to secure your supply chains. Last topic regarding how I can evaluate the impacts in SBTi flag, SBTN, and so on. You can measure carbon emissions and removals improvements, corridors restored, species increased, etc. But another important measure is water. Last year, based on international frameworks and research, we have been able to modelize water dynamics. Let me show you how it looks. Here, you have a project zone in which you can see the potential evapotranspiration, the runoff, and potential infiltration. We measure before the project, forecast it, and measure it once the project has grown. Indeed, soil cover with trees or herbaceous species will be our key ally in improving these factors. Hope you're not having your best nap, but enjoy this presentation. Learned something and got new ideas. Feel free to reach me on LinkedIn. I have a quite easy last name to remember, and I wish you all a very good conference.